All right, friends, it is time to get suited up for your very first dive. Are we excited? Oh, uh, sorry, but are you the only one? Huh, seems that way. All right, well, climb aboard then. We have a wonderful adventure ahead of us. Have you ever scuba dived before? Never. Well, you are in for quite a treat. I just came back from the reef after I did my rounds with the other participants, and Harry has been hanging out. I hope you're not afraid. He's not going to hurt you. I promise you, he's harmless. He looks scary, but he's actually very sweet. Harry is about a 3 foot long barracuda that we have that frequents the reef. He's very sweet. And he's probably coming back to lay down for the rest of tonight. I say lay down, but he'd probably just kind of swim around in like a stasis, like sleep. But anyway, he is very sweet. He probably doesn't have the energy to bother anybody today. Now, climb aboard and I will start telling you what you need to know. We'll get started on our adventure out to the reef. It's about a 10-minute drive, so we will be having a little bit of a briefing in between. My captain will be guiding the ship while I hang out back here with you. Have you ever gone snorkeling before, friend? You have? Okay. So the mouthpiece you're going to be breathing out of is about the same thing, only you're going to be getting oxygen from that tank that's going to be strapped to your back. Now, depending on how buoyant you are, I myself have to have quite a bit of weight because I float instead of sink. So, we'll be adjusting everything that you need. We will be taking care of everything. You will be following me inside the water. If you need anything, you can take this little strap that I'm going to give you. It's going to be attached to your BC, which is your buoyancy compensator. Now, that levels your buoyancy in the water, how much you float, how much you sink. See, I have to have weight in mine, as I just said, because I float, even with no air in my BC. So I'm going to strap up this regulator. So this regulator is what controls your breathing. This is what allows oxygen into your apparatus that is going to allow you to breathe underwater, which we want to happen. So we have this tank here. We're going to strap that to your BC, and the BC is what's going to go over your body. Okay? And then we're going to take the regulator, which is the piece that's going to go inside your mouth, and it's also got this little gauge on the end of it that's going to tell you how much air you have. Now, if you look here, I'll turn the tank on real quick. Okay, so it's filling up with air. You can see that gauge going up. If that gauge starts getting down into the red or past the red at any point in this dive, I need you to come and get me. That means you're running low on oxygen and it's time for us to start going up. If you don't come and get me, you run out of oxygen, you'll be sleeping with Harry tonight. And I don't want that to happen. We've never had anybody get hurt on our dives before, and I don't want it to start now, especially someone like you. Well, anyway, so this gauge, you don't have to worry about it right now. Obviously, we'll be checking periodically. If I ever hold up my gauge and I tap it with 2 fingers, that's me asking you, hey, how much air do you got? You'll lean down or tilt or however you need to maneuver to get your gauge, and you'll pick it up and you'll look at it and say you have 12,000 or 1,200. You'll put up a 1, a 2, and then 2 zeros with your hand. But give like a second or two in between, so then it's not just like 1, 2, 5, 12, and it'll be easier for me to understand. So, how about we check that out right now? Why don't you grab the gauge? I'll tap it. I'll tap my own gauge. Obviously, we're underwater, but this is just me getting you acquainted with the equipment. Okay. So, how much air do you got? All right, and that looks great. That was perfect. Well done. You passed the first test. Now, this is going to be the system that you're going to use. We'll get you assisted into a BC in a short little while, but I want you to breathe the oxygen in through your regulator for a little bit. So take this mouthpiece, put it in your mouth. There, you're going to see the little ridges on this is going to be the piece that you kind of support between your teeth. You're going to bite down on it. Not hard, obviously, because then you can get a headache. Just, rest it. And then this outer flap will go over your gums, over your teeth, but underneath your lips. So then you're creating that little bit of a suction that'll keep the water out from inside. Yeah, you don't want to breathe. Yeah, you don't want to drink this water. Maybe if you were in the Great Lakes with some fresh water, even then it's probably pretty dirty. Yeah. All right, so then just take some nice slow inhales and exhales. And while we're under the water, if you ever feel like you are starting to panic, please understand that you can still breathe. I had this situation happen once before with my father, actually, when him and I used to dive together. He thought he was freaking out. He panicked. He surfaced. We were on a guided dive like you're going to be on today, and the guide turned around and I turned around to check, and it was within a couple minutes of each other, and I turned around to check my dad cuz he was kind of lagging behind a little bit, and he was gone. No idea where he was. So I turned and I looked up. I'm looking up. You'd think you could see him. He was in these bright yellow fins. We had the same fins on actually, so then it was easier for us to identify each other in the group. I would look down. Where's my dad? Oh, that's what my fins look like. I gotta find those. Anyway, he panicked, felt like he couldn't breathe. He surfaced. He dove back down, met up with the group. I kind of looked at him like, what happened? And obviously, we couldn't communicate very well under the water, but I looked at him. I was like, you good? And I put thumbs up. And he said, yeah, I'm good. I could tell he was still a little shaken up about it, but we made it out fine. So, if anything like that ever happens, I'm going to stick close to you, okay? Since it's just me and you, we're going to stay real close together. If you need anything, you can tug on my fin a little bit. Just don't grab my tank or the regulator from my mouth because I obviously need those to breathe. But you can tug on my fin, you can tap my side, whatever you need to do to alert me that something is wrong. I'll make eye contact with you and we'll go back up to the surface where you can chill. And if you need anything, we got you. We got snacks on the boat, we've got water here. We'll get you settled and taken care of. I promise you that. Now, we're going to move on to the BC. Do you have any questions? Have you seen this contraption before? It's quite intimidating if you haven't. Okay, well, it's pretty simple. So you're going to have this, I don't even know what to call it. It's got a fancy name, but it's hard to. You can pump it up. You can press this button and it'll go psh, and you'll start feeling the BC, the buoyancy compensator, start inflating with air. It's going to feel like a life vest. Now, if you hold that down, if you're freaking out, if you hold that down, the BC is not going to pop. It's got a release valve on the back. If it gets too full, it'll let the air out that you're pumping in. And it'll keep itself inflated, but it won't overinflate itself. And that will fill up with air, and that'll allow you to float all the way to the top like a little bobber. And when we get down there, if you feel like, oh man, I'm having a hard time staying off the sand, I'm kicking it up a ton, you can pump that a little bit, and it'll float you up just a smidge off the bottom, and it'll keep you level in the water. So then you're not, rubbing against a bunch of coral or getting all sandy, and it'll keep you level. It compensates your buoyancy. So, if you feel like, oh, I'm floating too much, and you can press this other button, and it'll go psh, and let the air out, and you will start to sink. It's pretty simple. But we are at our site. You and I are going to have a wonderful dive. It looks like Harry is gone right now. He usually hangs out over in that little corner. I'm not seeing him swimming about, which is a little unfortunate, but I'm sure he'll come over. Now, if we do see Harry, he is a barracuda. He is a predatory fish. When we get in the water, I'm going to have you just kind of like cross your arms and just float around. All you have to do is kick, and he's not going to bother you. Now, I will tell you, if you reach out real quick and you do spook him, he's probably going to want to defend himself. So don't freak out. He's not going to hurt you. I'm not going to let you get hurt. I'm going to make sure that you are safe on this dive. Like I said, I can't let someone as cute as you get hurt today. I mean, look, it's the last dive of the day. I've had a long day, and seeing someone really attractive is nice. It's a good change of pace. But, anyways, let's get you suited up, and then we will hop in. We're going to see all the cute little fishies. Now, if you see something underwater, and you want to know what kind of fish it is, I can't guarantee I'm going to know because I don't know everything. I'm not God. I didn't make all these fishies, but I've spent a lot of time around these fish, so I'm able to identify quite a few of them. I actually wanted to be a marine biologist when I was younger, but God had other plans. So I'm still doing something that I love, though, which is great. But Anyway, let's get you suited up and we will be hopping in the water. All right, there you go. How do you feel? Fat? Yeah, and it is pretty heavy, isn't it? Now, you are going to probably be tempted to lean forward, which is fine. But I just want to warn you, with those flippers on, if you lean forward, it is real hard to balance and you are liable to faceplant. And trust me, I've done it, it hurts. Now, what we're going to do, which makes for an easier entry to the water, is you are going to sit right where you are and fall backwards. Yes, I am serious. You are going to tip backwards into the water. This ensures that when you jump in, nothing falls off. It makes sure that everything is tight around your body. And then once you fall backwards, you can adjust yourself like a normal swimmer and swim and keep your head above the water. I'll have you pump up your BC a little bit and we'll make sure you test all the equipment. Keep your goggles tight. Make sure that you don't have any hair or anything or little air bubbles, because if you get that salt water in your eyes, I'm telling you, it burns. But like I said, we've got stuff on the boat to make sure that you are as comfortable as you can be during this dive together. I'm honestly surprised that you've never dove before. You seem very comfortable with all of this. Lots of people panic. It unfortunately is quite common. But you're handling this really well. I'm rather impressed. And that doesn't happen very often. Okay. Well, let's get you in and settled. There we go. We are in the water and you are doing wonderful. Now, I'm not going to have my regulator and you can hear me good? Just thumbs up. Perfect. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret. Normally, when it's just one person, we cancel the dives. But I was kind of excited about this one because I saw you wandering around earlier and I thought you were super cute and I really wanted you to experience the joy of seeing the sea and how beautiful it is. So, I told the captain that if this guy does come, that we should discount him. So this dive, completely free. I don't know, it was just a gut feeling I had about you. But anyway, we're going to dive down. We're going to see all sorts of fishies. We're going to say hi to Harry. And we're going to have a great dive. Take a deep breath. And we're going to start letting out some of that air. Press that button. Perfect. And I'm going to float down with you. Okay. What did you think? You did awesome. Yeah, you did. Even when that ray came under us, you kind of just watched her. You were super relaxed. Very, very impressed. Many people panic and freak out, and it takes a lot for us to calm them down. But you did wonderful. Wow. That wetsuit fits you really nice. Yeah, it does. But let's climb out and we can talk about it, huh? Oh, careful now. It is heavy. There. Good job. I know. It's different coming out going in weightless and then coming out all heavy. Crazy, isn't it? The effects of water on the body. So cool. All right. We'll get you drying off. Captain's got a towel for you. So, what'd you think for your first dive? Did we impress you? I told you. He's nice. He's not gonna hurt you. He was minding his own business as much as we were minding ours. It is really fascinating how much work God put into these creatures. And they've all so uniquely different. It just, it's mind-boggling. Well, pretty boy, we have made it back to shore, and this is your ticket off. It was really awesome meeting you, and I hope you come back soon. Harry will probably be excited to see you. Yeah, Harry. Um, anyway, I'll, see you around, hopefully. Thanks for stopping by. Later. Well, you know what, Captain? I'm allowed to flirt with a cute guy, okay? It's not like he's ever gonna see me again. They're all tourists mainly anyways. Oh, okay, so my number is on the website. Doesn't mean he's gonna call. Oh, just back up the boat.